Welcome to another episode of The Farm Show. I'm hosting, Gene Zepper's my name. Today we're visiting my neighbor, Jeff Palabicki, on his dairy farm. The spring cropping season is just getting started, so we really want to find out from Jeff how that fits and changes his work and how things are going to be going for the year. So, well, Jeff, you've been here a long time on this farm. What's your background on that?
Well, I was born and raised in town, but my grandparents lived on this farm. My mother was born on this farm, and then when I was a young teenager, I was out here helping my grandparents, and eventually, at age 15, I actually moved out here, and I've been here ever since.
Okay.
So
this is the farm is in north of Perm, Corliss Township, which for a lot of Perm people, Corliss means dairy farms. That's what we've got here.
Yeah.
You also have beef cattle too now.
Yes.
Did the farm always have beef cattle?
No, not in the beginning. That was something I added on. It actually had a small hog operation, which I faded out and switched over to beef, would fit my cropping and my feed supply a little better than a hog operation.
Okay.
It matched up better with the dairy.
You do have some pasture land.
Yes, about 120 acres that I can,
for the beef cows.
during the summer, run them on grass.
And you said they're calving this week?
Now. Yeah.
A bunch of them?
Yes.
Okay.
About 25 new ones.
Okay, out of a total of
65. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're right in the middle of that.
I haven't seen your beef cattle. Angus, or what do you got?
Gelbvieh, Red Angus, and Hereford cross. It's a three-way cross, so they're mainly red.
Okay.
Or red baldies, so.
And your dairy is Holstein?
Holstein, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the prominent breed in the dairy industry.
The cropping now is just, we're in the middle of April, things are getting started, greening up, the grass is growing. So what crops do you choose to grow for your cattle then?
Of course, alfalfa is the main crop, maybe about 160 acres of alfalfa, and then some grassier hay mix for the beef cows, of course. And then second would be corn, and about half of my acres of the corn would be chopped made into silage for feed, and the other half would be combined and stored in the bins to grind for their grain mix.
Okay, so that's also for the dairy cows.
It's all basically for feed, and then there's some small grain, oats and barley, which also mostly goes in for feed too. And
okay, so when you start planting, what do you plant first?
Some small grain, and then the small grains usually gets interseeded with alfalfa.
Okay, so next year that'll be an alfalfa field then.
Yes, for keep your rotation.
Okay, crop rotation.
Yes.
So what? Yeah. So how we've not on our other shows we've not mentioned crop rotation. How does that fit for you?
Well, normally it's like a 5-year rotation alfalfa, and then you turn that back into corn or small grain for a few years. But last year with a bare winter with no snow, we had major losses in alfalfa, which killed a large portion of our alfalfa field. So now everything kind of got turned around a little bit, the rotation, trying to catch up to get my rotation back in order because I'm short of alfalfa land. So that was a challenge last year in Corliss and actually most of Minnesota.
Yes, there was a lot of alfalfa that froze out. This year we're okay from
so far. It looks real good, yeah. So. And
now, then when shifting to the corn production, there's so many different types of corn available.
Yes.
Do you grow, for your grain, do you have a different type of corn than for the silage? Or
there is corn specifically bred for silage now that the tonnage is probably double of regular field corn that you're going to combine for grain. I've already planted 80, 82, but I kind of more like 85 day to 87 day for combining, and then on the silage varieties you can actually go up to 100, 105 day.
People not familiar with corn won't catch what we're talking about. The days of corn, each variety has a number, and it refers to how early it matures.
Yes, maturity day.
So the shorter day in this area would be 80 to 85 day corn. 100 day corn would mature longer, so it probably wouldn't get a ripe cob. But for silage, that's okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So then you'll be storing the feeds on the farm. What type? How do you do your hay? there's a lot of different ways of harvesting hay.
I
Oh, yeah.
switched mainly to baleage
Okay.
and wrap individual bales in rows in the beginning, like the first cutting, and then if the weather permits, second, third cutting, I like to still dry bale
Okay.
for the dairy.
Some dry hay.
Yeah, and the beef cows is all dry hay.
Is that what's square bales or round bales? Or
Square for the dairy, which is easier to feed in the buildings and the bunks, and the beef cows are all round bales,
Okay.
which is fed outside. So it's more convenient that way.
Okay. And the baleage, that's the ones wrapped in plastic.
Yes.
Okay.
At about 38 to 40% moisture, so you don't have to dry it down quite as far as making dry hay. You'd shoot for 17%. So you can save a day or a day and a half on the drying time, which is kind of critical in the rainy part of the year.
Less chance for rain to goof it up. for you.
Spoilage, yeah.
Okay. So that's your hay crop, and then the corn silage. I saw you got a pile. So you
Yeah,
can put
we
on.
make a couple piles on the ground and have a custom harvester come in.
Oh, okay.
And we make 2 piles and pack it and cover it actually the same day and seal it with sand and tire. So it's usually all done in one day. And
So around the edge, you put sand to
Yes.
hold it down, and
keep it
some
airtight.
tires on the top. Too. Okay.
Yeah, it seems to do pretty well. It's almost like canning pickles.
Okay.
Seal it up and
The fermenting.
and it's quicker. It's easier feeding instead of versus the tower silos. A lot of guys have switched to.
Yeah, there's the farms in the area. You see so many of the silos.
Yeah.
But very few are used anymore.
Yes.
The alfalfa and the corn silage is a very good fit because alfalfa's got high protein. Corn silage has the energy, so it's a good match.
Yes.
And then you add some grains to balance it out.
Yes.
Vitamins, minerals,
salt,
put that all mixed together. And
Yes. Yeah. And I have a ration advisor to help me with that because every time you switch to a new feed, it has a different numbers that you have to deal with to adjust your minerals and what else. You know, every crop is different.
Okay.
Every feed is different. So you
Now, to get back to the cropping production, you're going to get started pretty soon. You said the grains you're going to plant first, and then later the corn. This is not an organic farm, is
No,
it?
no,
Okay.
conventional.
There are a few farms in the area. I'll have to go visit one of these days.
yeah do an organic
because
farm.
they do things a little
Yeah.
differently.
Yes.
But and you're what would be called conventional, which is the majority of the farms
Yes.
are doing it
Yes.
that way.
Yes. Yeah, well,
And then-
organic has a whole different operation with use of fertilizer and chemicals and
We'll have to get to a show and
yeah,
do another
that's a
one
whole
on that
nother perspective.
topic.
Yeah. Yes.
And okay, now as far as your beef cattle, the summertime when the babies are being born now.
Yes.
So then the mother and the baby go out to the pasture for the summertime.
Yes.
Is that enough diet for them? The pasture.
That it kind of depends on the rain. Usually we're good until August or so, and then I have to supplement hay or corn silage, depending on the condition of the grass in the
Okay.
pastures. Yeah, and then they, when the calves are getting 400 pounds, they take a lot more energy too, and they need a little.
When do they get to 400? How long does that take?
Towards September and
Okay.
October, and then I usually wean the calves off sometime in later October, wean them from their mothers.
Okay.
And
Is that at the point when you sell the calf then?
depending on the markets, yes, sometimes
Okay.
just the steers, and sometimes the heifers are held longer and sorted through. And
But you generally sell them in the fall.
yes,
You
before
don't-
winter sets in.
Okay.
There's a pretty brisk market in October, November for feeder cattle. The feedlots are always looking for feeder calves right off the pasture that time of year, before winter actually sets in.
Yes. Okay.
So
I know the local sales barn gets busy in the fall.
Yeah,
That's probably
real busy.
what's happening there.
yeah.
So, your milk that you sell on the farm goes to where do you sell it?
The Perm LAC Perm into Perm. We have a local co-op,
Lakes
and
Area
that
Co-op.
and that is actually hauled right over to Bongards in Perm, our local cheese factory. So my milk is all made into cheese.
Okay, Jeff. Well, thank you for sharing all this information with us. This concludes another episode of the Farm Show, and we'll see you next week.